Huber Resources, the company that I run, manages about 450,000 acres of timberland in Maine, most of it in northern Maine, but scattered all over northern Maine. So from Township 24 down east to the Ashland area, Millinocket, Patton area north of Baxter, and then a fairly sizable chunk in the northwest corner of Maine, near the St. John River. And that's the part of Maine I want to concentrate on. It's a couple 100,000 acres, 250,000 acres we manage up there. Maine, I understand the impetus of this bill. Maine workers and Maine mills are important, and we try to do it as much as we can. But Maine, we have to remember, Maine is part of a large trading region. Our wood moves back and forth throughout New England and throughout Quebec and maritime Canada. It's a very interdependent system. It's part of a very large wood processing cluster. That's what makes it healthy. I also want to point out that Maine, as was pointed out previously, is a net importer of wood. In fact, we could not run our pulp and paper industry without significant imports of wood from elsewhere. We could not sustainably manage our forests, only Maine forests supply our pulp mills. They're just too big, which is great. That's a wonderful thing. We're the second biggest producer of pulp and paper in the United States on a value basis, after Wisconsin. But the other thing that's important is we sell a lot of wood into Canada. We just do, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But an awful lot of the wood comes back to Maine. It's the closest route to a public road is into Quebec, into Canada. But all of my hardwood goes there. But over 70% of it, after it's processed and the logs go hither and yon, back into Maine and back into other places, all of the pulpwood portion of that comes back into Maine, going to either Verso or Sapping. It's a very important source of supply for them, and it's very hard for that wood to travel over the dirt roads out of that corner down into central and western Maine where those mills are. It's a lot easier if we go across the border, hit a public road, be processed, and then go as a finished product to those pulp and paper mills back into Maine. The reason that wood goes over there, and as it has for decades, Huber's managed lands there for decades, is that there simply is no infrastructure in northern Maine. Now, I would love to see more mills up there selling wood too, but to have a sawmill or a pulp mill or some sort of processing mill, you need power, you need a community of people, of laborers to house it, and you need transportation systems. You have over 2 million acres up there without a single public road, not a single power line, not a single town. You could build a mill there, but it's not a matter of if you build it, they will come. You can't run it without power, you can't run it without people to be in it. You go right across the border, and we all think of northern Maine as this vast wilderness, and it's very remote. You go across the border into Quebec, and there's power, and there's public roads, and there's all kinds of mills. Traditionally, the wood is flown, moved on the rivers, moved into Canada and Quebec from that region, and it's done so since the roads were built. We're proud of the work we do there. It's good forestry, and we're supplying a lot of quality jobs in Maine. And as I said, an awful lot of the wood transports and comes back into Maine to support Maine mills. The other thing I want to mention is we talked about labor. All of our contractors that we hire there are American contractors, but they sometimes hire bonded labor. I don't know if we have any bonded labor on our property now, even though it's close as it is to Canada. I just can't tell because a lot of it's subcontracted out until we want to figure it out. But I can tell you, maybe it's because the market there isn't very efficient. For the past 4 years running, I've had several thousand cords and up to 8,000 cords of wood per winter go begging. I could not find labor to cut it. We had a contractor that had committed to do it, but he could not find the subcontractors of labor to get it cut and moved. Now, that could simply be because of inefficiency in the market. I know we pay a good rate to those contractors. I don't know how I don't know how the subcontractors are compensated, but it's not for a lack of trying. And as I said, we have significant volumes based on our sustainable harvest that simply don't get harvested because we can't find labor. So I'd urge you to sort of oppose this. I think it would be very damaging to Maine mills. If we get retaliatory, if this were to pass and we got retaliatory behavior from other mills in other states or other municipalities and jurisdictions, it would certainly have a very big negative impact on Maine mills.